The first part of the lesson will be brought to you by the Reverend Barbara Trudell.
Well, it's been quite the adventure, hasn't it? It's good to sit back. I like to think of the idea of an adventure. When we walk this spiritual path, there's something that happens that if we allow ourselves to fully integrate the idea of going within to find our answers, our direction, we can begin to live a much more fuller experience than maybe we have in the past. So there's a couple of things I want to cover today. And from the book, The Motivation Manifesto, which many of you have, one of the quotes in We Shall Advance with Abandon is, "Cowards die many times before their deaths. The valiant never taste of death but once." So often we have an idea, we have a dream, we have a desire that we would like to manifest, but instead of going for it, we might hold back. And in doing that, we limit the possibility of growth and expansion. We limit the idea of life being realized. And when we came into this life, we came in with a gift. Each one of us has something. And he says in the book, ours must become a life of courageous action and perpetual progress. We have to every day get up and show up. Every day we need to live with this sense of abandon, this idea of, yes, within me there is the potential, the possibility of greatness. Within me there is an idea that God planted that said right from the beginning, I am perfect, whole, and complete, and this is true for all people everywhere. And if we begin to live with that abandon, if we begin to take time every day to go within, to stop looking out here for answers, but rather to look within and say, what is it that I bring? What is it that I can give to life today? And if I can show up with abandon, I mean, what does that mean? It's like exciting. I think of abandon as sort of throwing off all the shackles and ties and bonds that have held me back and going, yes, to whatever shows up that day, that moment, that hour. Are we ready to really express life? Are we ready to really allow life to be realized through us, to find that desire that's been planted within us and to give it energy, to focus on it and to allow it to express? He says in here, to reclaim our power, we must seek an immediate shift in our belief about how influential we can be in shaping our reality. You know, we teach here that it is what you think about that you bring about. Now, who is thinking your thoughts of limitation? That would be you. Who's thinking your fear thoughts? Well, that would be you. Who would be deciding to procrastinate? That would be you, right? We're setting ourselves up. We've bought into the idea that somehow we're limited, somehow we're less than, somehow we aren't great, but we were created in the image and likeness of God, so we must already be perfect, whole, and complete. And if we could shift our thinking from victim to victor, we might begin to live the life that we were given to live. Does that sound reasonable? Yes, so let's change our thinking. Let us begin to focus on who we are and whose we are. We must believe that we can bend reality to our own preferences, crafting the lives we desire through the disciplined learning and initiative. This adventure has really been about us surrendering deep within ourselves to cease looking out here for approval, acceptance, but rather going within and saying, I am enough, now what? What is it that brings me joy? What is it I'm grateful for? What is it that I bring to the world? How can I serve? And we serve by giving our gift, our talent, our little something, something, whatever that might be. So each day we're called to action. Every day, every moment, we are called to action. What action are you taking today? Are you having a nap in the pews? Let me check. Are you waiting for someone to give you permission to be great? They won't. You must give it to yourself. You see, we need to step up and step in. Step into each day, step into each idea, step into the life that we were given. And if you take a few minutes of silence, you begin to see what it is that excites and delights you. And whatever that is calling you to your greatness. That's the thing you're here to give in this life experience. We're not here by accident. We're not here by mistake. We are here by divine order. We are here to be what God created us to be, and not some sad representation of that. He says in here, no great innovation or human leap forward came from a predictable path or an idea that was immediately attainable or realistic. How many of us are trying to do the realistic thing? How many of us are trying to live a life that we can go, okay, if I do A, then B will happen, and C will happen, and I'll end up at Z, and it's all great? How many of us are doing that? We're planning and strategizing from what we already know, and I'll tell you, from doing that, we are not going to achieve big breakthroughs. You see, we have to be on the fringe. We have to come up with a new idea. We have to tap into the divine so that we can begin to express something wild and wonderful. I remember hearing a story of a paradigm shift many years ago. You know, the Swiss used to make all the best watches. All watches came from Switzerland. They were the ones. If you wanted a good watch, that's where you went. And somebody on the fringe said to them one day, you know, there's this battery-powered watch, this quartz movement. I think this would be a really good idea. And they went, forget that. That's a dumb idea. So they took it to the Japanese. And if you check your watch today, odds are pretty good that it's a quartz movement watch. They missed the boat because they thought they knew it all. They were the best, had been the best, and believed that they would continue to be the best forever and ever. Amen. But the truth is that innovation and ideas and stuff are coming, but where are they coming from? They're not coming from what's already been done. They're coming from an idea deep inside of me that has yet to be created. And if I can be wild and just relax into that idea of abandon, I can begin to let go of your idea of what is possible for my life, and I can let go of what I thought my life was going to be, and I can relax into the divine and listen to that still small voice and begin to create from a brand new paradigm. And in doing that, something new happens, something wonderful happens, and an interesting thing occurs from there is that I begin to feel incredible joy. Have you ever noticed how joyful you are when you do something new and exciting and wonderful, and it feels so good, and it makes you tingle all over, and you know that you're on the edge of something truly great? And yes, there's some fear inside of you, some excitement that's growing. I like to think of fear as false evidence appearing real, but better yet, feeling excited and ready. Feeling excited and ready to create something new, to burst forth with abandon, and creating joy and gratitude as I go, knowing that as I amplify my love, I begin to create something truly remarkable because I'm taking my life to a new place. But not only my life. You see, there's only one of us here. We live, move, and have our being within the one, within God. And as one of us propels ourselves forward, what happens is we bring the whole with us, and everything moves forward. That there isn't something that happens to me that hasn't been happening to you as well. That as I excel, so do you. As I move forward and lift my consciousness, awaken myself to the divine within me, then you too are awakened. And the possibility for you to begin to move forward, to expand, to grow, to live full and large becomes greater. Because we look around us and we see people doing great things and we go, maybe I could do great things too, right? And sometimes we stretch a little because somebody else has stretched a lot. And joy comes not because somebody outside of me said, wow, you look nice today. It's like I've accomplished something within myself, something that made my heart sing and tickled the very essence of my being, and I experienced joy, and oh my goodness, the gratitude that comes as I begin to live that life that God gave me to live and began to manifest the things that God had put in me, planted in me. As I begin to live that life, there's something remarkable that happens. And the excitement and the delight, they grow. And the love that I share is amplified because love is an infinite resource. You see, there isn't a little bit of it. There's a lot. In fact, no matter how much of it I give away, there's more to give. There's more growing, more expanding, more there. So we want to break down the walls that have kept us separate. Break down the walls that hold us back from our dreams or from each other. We want to live and love. And as we love fully and completely, as we allow ourselves to break down the walls and just show up and say, I love you, then something wonderful happens. We begin to do for each other and we show up for each other. And you know, when we take down that wall, love can come in. Have you noticed that? When you got this big concrete wall in front of you, there is no love coming in. You might think you're protecting yourself from being hurt, but no, you're eliminating the possibility of love reaching you. You got to break down the wall and stand in your fabulousness, knowing that God as you is beaming outward and drawing to you more love in every moment. You see, there's nothing to fear except the thought of fear. We want to eliminate that thought. We want to begin to open our minds so that we can begin to live from possibility and opportunity, that we can begin to live from the life God gave us to live, that we can stand up and say, well, if God suggested I do this thing, then maybe I should do it. If I'm good at this, probably it's mine to do. You know how sometimes you see something that needs to be done? Okay, so if you see it, you do it. Right? Don't wait for someone else. Do it. If there's an idea that you see that you go, this really needs to get, this really needs to get done. And if it's calling your attention over and over, I'm here to tell you it's yours to do. So stop resisting and procrastinating. Like I said a few weeks ago, today is here. And when I go to bed tonight, it's still today. And when I wake up tomorrow, it's still today. And when I go to bed that night, it's still today. And when I wake up again, it's still today. So what am I putting off to tomorrow? It doesn't exist. Let me be present today. Let me live what's being drawn up inside of me. Let me stand in greatness and let me share that light every moment of every hour. Let me break down the walls of resistance to life. Let me stand in it. Let me just love. Can you do that? Can you love? Can you get on the streetcar and smile at everybody? Get on the subway and do a little dance? You know how there's all those performers down there? Can you just stop for a minute and feel the music and experience the music and give a little love to whoever it is? Don't have to always give money, you know. You could smile at the person and thank them for their music if you like it. You could stop and listen for a minute instead of hurrying by. We're hurrying through life, and for what? Where are we getting? Are we rushing toward our demise? It seems that way sometimes, right? We're hurrying to the end. Slow down. It's coming soon enough. And none of us know exactly when it's coming, so why not live fully now? Why not just step up right now today and say, you know what? I'm going to live, I'm going to love, I'm going to laugh, I'm going to be joyful, and I'm going to be grateful. I'm going to take the time to look around me and see what's here so I can go, thank you. Thank God. Praise God. Thank God. Look at this world. Look at the people around me. Look at the beauty and the grace and the goodness. Let's turn the radios off. Let's shut off our TV for a little while. Let's take that newspaper and stick it in the bird cage, in the bottom of a litter box, recycle bin. Let's cancel the subscription. And instead, let's look at each other and have a conversation. In fact, put your cell phones down. Your iPads. your computers. Put them down for a minute and look at the person beside you and say, hey, how you doing? What do you do? Who are you anyway? Look deep within yourself and give yourself into the world. Give your life to somebody else. Give who you are permission to be who God created you to be. Live with abandon. That adventure in faith is an adventure that you take by yourself, for yourself, and you take it within yourself, listening to the Christ consciousness, and then acting, taking action on what comes and what's revealed to you and through you in that moment. I invite you to be you. Everybody else is already taken. So you may as well just be you. Celebrate your life. Rejoice in your gifts. Share them completely and love with wild abandon every moment of every hour of every day. Because God created you perfect, whole, and complete. God bless.
All the way, I'm going all the way.
All the way, I'm going all the way.
All the way, I'm going all the way. I'm going all the way with the Lord. Sing all the way. All the way, yes, I'm going all the way. All the way, I'm going all the way. All the way, I'm going all the way. I'm going all the way with the Lord. Say no turning back now. No turning back. I'm going all the way. No turning back. I'm going all the way. No turning back. I'm going all the way. I'm going all the way with the Lord. I'm going all the way with the Lord. One more time. I'm going all the way with the Lord. Here we go. I know a place, oh yeah, where ain't nobody crying now, oh yeah, where ain't nobody worried, 'cause all I see are smiling faces. Let me hear you say now, lying to the races, hey, let me say I'll take you there, I'll take you there. Let me hear you say you'll take me where, I'll take you there. I don't believe you. Tell me you'll take me where, I'll take you there. I wanna hear you say you'll take me where, I'll take you there. Let's go from the top. I know a place, oh yeah, where ain't nobody crying now, where ain't nobody worried, 'cause all I see are smiling faces. Let me hear you say, lying to the races. Will you join us? Let me hear you say you'll take me there. I'll take you there. I can't hear you say you'll take me there. I'll take you there. I wanna hear you say you'll take me there. I'll take you there. One more time. Let me hear you say you'll take me there. I'll take you there. All right, say it nice and quiet. You'll take me there. I'll take you there. Even quieter. Say that you'll take me there. I'll take you there. Whisper it now. Say you'll take me there. I'll take you there. All right, now let's get loud. Take me there. I'll take you there. I wanna
The Bible, especially the Old Testament, has some wonderful allegories. The story of mankind, or humankind, is told that when the Creator God created the universe, the world, and all that is in it, after creating humankind, she said to it, "Do not eat of the fruit of the tree that is in the center of the garden. The day thou eatest of that fruit, thou shalt surely die." This death means separation. The greatest setback for humankind is the act of separation. To believe that we are here and God is there. To believe that there are those and there are us. Wherever there is separation, it creates vengeance, enmity, hate, war. In the beginning, when God created everything, God saw that it was good and very good. All thinking that is otherwise is our own subjective thinking, not of God. The teachings of Jesus of Nazareth are based on love. Not this emotional kind that you seek out someone to partner with, but the love that realizes oneness. I am one with you. I am one with God. Because I am one with God, I can't help but be in one with you. And seeing that we all live, move, and have our being in God, there is no outside God. The concept of an outside God was given to us from the Old Testament. Every tribe had their own God. And the Hebrew people, the children of Israel, and the Jews decided that their God was Yahweh. Other people had their own gods. And everybody who had a God, they believed that they were the children of that God, that God will protect them. So when you read the Old Testament, it is full of vengeance, hate, war. As we today hold independent concepts of God and deny every other person's concept of God, we have war, we have chaos, and we have vengeance and hate still percolating in our minds. When we come to realize that all this has been caused by our views on religion, politics, nationality, and who our family might have been, we get it. The first thing that Jesus said when he began to preach is to repent. Change your mind and come to realize that we are all expressions of the same God, that the same Father that you have is the same Father that is mine. And he said, love God, and then love thy neighbor as thyself. And then one of the disciples said, James says, how could I say I love God when I don't love my brother who I can see? How could I experience oneness with God when I can't experience oneness with you. When in my mind, when I see you, there's division. I think I'm better than you. I think I'm worse than you. I think that we are different. I think this idea of separation is so dominant in all of us that we could never experience the peace and the joy that God is wherever we are. Wherever I am, God is. And the nature of my God is absolute good. So my role is to retrain my mind to see good wherever I am. And then out of that seeing of goodness, I begin to experience freedom. The book begins with freedom. That the quest in every human soul is to be free. Freedom means to create a space where there is no difference, no separation, no war. As Isaiah says, the lion and the lamb can lie down together, and there is no war. That agreement becomes very important, and acceptance becomes even more so. I've got to learn to accept you as a child of God. Don't look for your differences. Don't look and judge you by what you do, but go to the center of your being as the same center that I have. We all are in God. We are all of God. We all live in God. There is nothing outside of the walls of God. All of God is everywhere present. And we live, move, and have our being in it. Separation creates anxiety. It creates fear. When I come to realize that wherever I am, God is, and that everyone and everything around me is having an experience in the same God, the same goodness, I have no enemies. I realize that we are here seeking the same thing, freedom. The expression of being ourselves. When you can express yourself fully for who you are, there's a sense of independence and freedom that takes hold of your life, and you can be truly who you want to be. You are no longer afraid of what they said or what they will say. See, we've been taught like little children to think more about that which is on the outside. What will the people say? What will the people do when I paint my hair red? What will they say? What will they think? The freedom to be who you are is the freedom to live without stress and without strain. To create a mental block around you that says, wherever I am the best that I can be, and this is my choice, and I live it regardless of what you think. That's freedom. Freedom is not a state without war. Freedom is a state of oneness. It is a mental state of recognition when I realize it doesn't matter what you say or do, I still love you. I am still at oneness with you. I'm not here to fight you. I don't want to change you. I want to do what? Keep working on myself to change me so I could love you more. And then I don't have to be afraid of you. I don't have to be afraid. You see, fear stands in the way. Fear is not a natural element that has been given to us. God gave us the power to love and the strength to go forward in a state of love. We develop fear because we are afraid of dying and getting hurt. And when we learn to take chances and leap off the platform of fear, we enter a stage of faith that we could create based on all the goodness that we see ahead of us. Regardless of what they say, I am going forth to live something that I see, and nothing shall deter me. Even in the shadow of death, I know the power to create is with me. And it doesn't matter what I want to create or where I want to go, God is there. Fear creates trepidation. Fear creates an unwillingness to experience ourselves fully. We are always thinking about a power that does not exist that we keep feeding. Fear has no power but the power you give it. When you realize that, you come to a place where you can say, I want to live. I remember about 45 years or so ago, I was in a doctor's office. I've been there because I had a headache that was with me for a long time. And I would play a lot of sport to get rid of it, and after a while it came back. And the doctor made a pronouncement and said, if you get up from here, you could die. And the first thing that hit me was the fear of losing my 2 young children. And a pain went through my heart. I could have killed myself. Fear kills. If you believe the negativity and the prognosis of death, you will die. But if you realize that you can look beyond the prognosis and see life being lived to the fullest, regardless of what may stand before you, fear goes. And the power to live comes. From that moment, I have been living a life based on whatever happens is the best thing that could have possibly happened in this, the best possible life. I am not afraid. I go forth knowing that God didn't bring me here to die. God brought me here to live. And I'm going to live. And I will not let any outside voice tell me how to live and what to do with my life. I listen to that voice within me that directs my path. And when it says, go, I go knowing that I must succeed wherever I go. Remember that success means to complete a task. Success is not a big thing. Whatever you decide to do in your heart and you have done it, you have succeeded. Big, small, infinite, whatever your dream is, the completion of your dreams gives you a sense of satisfaction which brings peace. The greatest enemy is within you. There are no enemies outside of you. The enemy that controls your life is inside of you. It's that old self that has been built on fear that keeps you being pulled back from the future that waits for you, that is in goodness and in God. All suffering begins with forgetfulness. We forget that we are spiritual beings endowed with the infinite possibility for absolute goodness. We forget that. And we have bought into what the theologians, the politicians, the tribal chiefs, and the presidents of nations have told us about ourselves. When we realize and start living from that inner part of ourselves that says, I came that I can have life and have it abundantly. Nothing can stop you. As soon as you make a declaration, I shall move forward, the motivation shall be you will move forward. When Moses was in the wilderness and he had his burning bush experience, and God said to him, I have seen the affliction of my people. I have seen the sufferings that you are going through. I am here to help you move out of this state of bondage and to claim freedom. Like all of us, when we think of moving from here to there, we panic. As soon as we may know in our heads that something better is yet to come, but as soon as we think about moving towards it, we panic, full of fear. We get anxious. And then we start to have what? Doubt. Suppose it doesn't work out. So we get a big U-Haul and take all the old crap with us, creating the same old situation where we go. When God called Abraham, he says, take nothing with you, not even a member of your family. Just go to a place that I will show you. That's what faith does. Faith allows you to move with reckless abandon. You just go. You have ever done that? I remember in the time of my transformation, after I got the prognosis, I would leave home in the morning and go on the 401 and put that pedal down, right down. You weren't in the OPP yet. And I would put my pedal down to the floorboard of that car and drive to Peterborough, drive to Kingston. Floorboard, man. And then drive back. The tension, to run the tension, I realized I'm not going to die here without driving as fast as I can. At least I could say I did it. You have to take risk in order to do the things you need to do to get past the fear. Because fear is like a wall that stands before you. You alone could see that wall. There's no wall but what's in your head. And you have to go past that wall to prove that you came to be co-creator with God of a life that is lived from the highest, not from the tail of the pig, but from the head. I know some of you all like pigtails. You are a head hunter, not a tail seeker. Choose the top and move towards the top, regardless of what they say or what you think they may do. You cling to what your dream is and keep moving. This is liberation. The only time you will be free is when you feel satisfied within you. What shall it profit a man if he gains the whole world and he does not have the integrity because he does not know who he is? He's a fake. Are you a fake? Living a fake life? You have all the trappings of success, but when you sleep at night, you don't feel comfortable in here. Do you feel comfortable wherever you are? Do you feel satisfied that if today is the last day you could say, I came, I lived, and I'm satisfied, and I'm ready to go with a bang? Can you do that right now? Or are you still planning to buy another something that you think will bring you some peace and joy? this is the time to start putting faith in action. Because faith without works is just daydreaming like we did as children. Went under a tree and just daydream, man. When I get older, wow. And some of us saw ourselves as people of distinction. And where is that distinction now? Fear has kept us in the dungeon. We need to break down the walls because they are just imaginary walls. Just put your foot, you go through it. So they're not there. They're only in your mind. And start acting by reconnecting with the people around you. Wherever you go, don't go with fear. Go with a sense of unity. If you have an interview, go realizing that the company and you are one. The interviewer and you are one. There's no fear here now. Just go. Your life is not your life. It is God living through you. It is your mentality that stops God from living as you. What you need to do is to embrace the unity with God and stop believing that by your sweat you must eat brow. It is by your sweat that you use fear not to live. Start living because you know you came to live, and may God bless your soul, and so it is.
There will be mountains that I will have to climb, and there will be battles that I will have to fight. But victory or defeat, it's up to me to decide. But how can I expect to win if I never try? Oh, yes, I just can't give up now. I've come too far from where I've started from. Nobody told me the road would be easy, and I don't believe he's brought me this far to leave me.
Never said there wouldn't be trials. Never said I wouldn't fall. Never said that everything will go the way I want it to go. But when my back is against the wall and I feel all hope is gone, I'll just lift my head up to the sky and say, help me to be strong. Oh,
I just can't give up now. I've come too far from where I started from. Nobody told me the road would be easy, and I don't believe he's brought me this far to leave me.
oh, no, you didn't leave me out here to leave me lonely. Even when I can't see clearly, I know that you are with me, so I can.
I just can't give up now.
'Cause I've come too far
Far
from where
from where I
I
started from. Nobody told me the road would be easy, and I don't believe he brought me this far to leave brought me this far to leave me. And I don't believe He brought me this far to leave me. And I don't believe He brought me this far to leave me.
As I was going through my addiction to fear over 40 years ago, I wrote a piece. I want to share it. I am neither Christian nor Jew, Muslim or Hindu, for I believe that God is a thought, and I celebrate to worship it as I choose. Don't let the thoughts of others infiltrate your mind so you stop denying who you really are. You are all that there is, all that there can be. I am that I am. I will be what I choose to be. Choose to be great. Choose to live a life without fear. Free yourself from that great enemy within you, that enemy of fear, and begin to take action to move forward. And as you move forward in a state of love, knowing that wherever you are, God is. And whoever happens to be there is living, moving, and having being in God just like you. Love ye one another as God loves you. We're going to do a love offering this morning. However you choose to give, know that giving is part of the